Tonight, we bring you a major developing story out of Mexico that is already sending shockwaves across the country and beyond. One of the world's most feared and powerful drug lords, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, widely known as El Mencho, has reportedly been killed during a large-scale military operation. His death marks what authorities are calling one of the biggest blows against organized crime in modern Mexican history, but it has also triggered immediate and widespread chaos. According to official reports, Mexican security forces launched a high-intensity operation targeting El Mencho in the western state of Jalisco. The operation involved elite military units and intelligence coordination that had reportedly been in planning for months. During the confrontation, a violent shootout broke out between cartel gunmen and government forces. Authorities say El Mencho was severely wounded in the clash and later died while being transported under military custody. For years, El Mencho had been one of the most wanted fugitives in the world. The United States government had placed a reward of up to $15 million for information leading to his capture. He was accused of overseeing massive international drug trafficking operations, including the production and distribution of methamphetamine, cocaine, and synthetic opioids such as fentanyl. Law enforcement agencies across North America had long described him as one of the most dangerous criminal masterminds of the 21st century. To understand the significance of this moment, it's important to look at who El Mencho was and how he rose to power. Born in rural Mexico, he initially lived a relatively ordinary life before migrating to the United States as a young man. There, he became involved in criminal activities and was eventually deported back to Mexico. After returning, he joined organized crime networks and steadily climbed the ranks through a combination of ruthless strategy, military-style discipline, and extreme violence. He eventually became the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, often referred to as CJNG. Under his leadership, the cartel transformed into one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world. The group built a reputation for using advanced weapons, armored vehicles, and coordinated tactical assaults that resembled military operations. They were known not only for drug trafficking but also for extortion, kidnappings, and violent territorial control. Authorities say CJNG expanded rapidly under El Mencho's command, establishing networks across multiple continents. Investigators believe the cartel played a major role in flooding international markets with synthetic drugs, contributing to deadly overdose crises in several countries. This global reach made El Mencho a top priority target for both Mexican and international law enforcement agencies. However, while officials are celebrating his death as a significant victory, the immediate aftermath has been anything but calm. Within hours of the announcement, violent retaliation began erupting across parts of Mexico. Reports described cartel members setting vehicles on fire, blocking highways, and launching coordinated attacks on infrastructure. Videos circulating online showed burning trucks, deserted streets, and heavily armed gunmen moving through urban areas. In several regions, authorities ordered residents to remain indoors as a safety precaution. Schools were temporarily closed, public transportation was disrupted, and businesses shut their doors amid fears of further violence. Some airports experienced chaos as flights were delayed or cancelled due to security concerns. Tourist destinations that normally attract thousands of visitors suddenly became tense and uncertain zones. Security analysts say this type of retaliation was expected. When a powerful cartel leader is removed, it often triggers two immediate reactions: revenge attacks against the state and internal power struggles within the criminal organization itself. Experts warn that the coming weeks could be especially dangerous, as different factions may attempt to seize control of leadership within the cartel. One of the biggest concerns now is the possibility of a violent succession battle. Cartels are not just criminal groups. They function like complex corporate-style organizations with hierarchies, alliances, and rivalries. When a top leader is suddenly eliminated, it can create a power vacuum that sparks internal conflicts. These conflicts often lead to increased violence not only within the cartel but also against civilians caught in the crossfire. There is also concern that rival criminal groups may attempt to exploit the situation. Historically, when a dominant cartel weakens, Competing organizations move quickly to capture territory and resources. This can trigger territorial wars that spread instability across entire regions. From a government perspective, officials are framing the operation as a major milestone in the fight against organized crime. They argue that removing a figure as influential as El Mencho disrupts criminal networks and sends a strong message that even the most powerful cartel leaders can be brought down. However, some experts caution that focusing solely on eliminating leaders does not necessarily dismantle the larger systems that allow organized crime to thrive. Critics point out that cartels often adapt quickly. Even after losing high-ranking figures, they can reorganize, appoint new leaders, and continue operations. This has led to ongoing debate among policymakers about whether long-term solutions should focus more heavily on economic reforms, corruption reduction, and social programs alongside law enforcement strategies. The international impact of this event is also significant. Governments in multiple countries are closely monitoring the situation, particularly due to the cartel's role in global drug trafficking networks. Travel advisories have already been issued, urging citizens to avoid affected regions and follow local security instructions. Meanwhile, intelligence agencies are watching closely for signs of potential changes in drug trafficking patterns. The removal of a major cartel leader can temporarily disrupt supply chains, but it can also create opportunities for other criminal groups to expand their operations. As this story continues to develop, one thing is clear. The death of El Mencho represents both a major victory for law enforcement and the beginning of a highly uncertain period. The coming days and weeks will determine whether this moment leads to a weakening of organized crime structures or triggers a new wave of violence and instability. Authorities are urging calm while increasing security deployments in key areas. Citizens are being advised to remain vigilant and follow official guidance. For now, the situation remains fluid, and updates are expected as investigators assess the full impact of the operation. This is a rapidly evolving story, and we will continue to monitor it closely as more details emerge.